it's actually documented that Hitler himself had over 100,000 Jewish soldiers in his army. It's documented, which means other Jewish people helped Hitler in his army. What up, guys? I am Sa Ra Garvey, and welcome to Class is in Session with me, myself, Sa Ra Garvey. What we're going to be doing today, you guys see the statement? You see it. Blacks sold blacks into slavery. Today, we're going to be talking about this statement because it's a statement that I have heard all of my life. I'm sure you guys have heard it all your life as well. Do you know what I mean? But what I want to do is I want to kind of analyze it to kind of see if it actually holds any weight. Because I think, right, that during the time that we've all been on this earth, we've been lied to a little bit. We've been lied to just a little bit. We can see what's been going on in the world today, and we're analyzing more and more things. So, is it possible? That's what I'm asking. Is it possible that we've been lied to about this statement? And what is the context of it? In this time in history, right? Specifically Black history, we kind of know the certain names. We know the name Martin Luther King. We know the name Malcolm X. We know the name Marcus Garvey. We know the name Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. But there's a couple of names that are just as prominent within the history of Black people that a lot of people just don't know, both Black and white. So I wanted to go into it. So grab a seat, grab a seat, folks. Get your pen, get your paper. Let's get into it now.
Here we go!
Blacks sold blacks into slavery. First of all, how did slavery start? Slavery never started because other Black people decided to sell other Black people to Europeans and to Arabs. That's not how slavery started. How did slavery start? First name you're going to need to know, okay? Slavery started because of a sailor from Portugal by the name of Calves. Here we go. Gon Calves. Gon Calves. That name, etch it into your memory, okay? Etch it into the names with Marcus Garvey, with Martin Luther King, with Malcolm X, with Harriet Tubman. Etch this name, Gon Calves, into your memory. Because without him, slavery probably wouldn't have started the way that it did. So Gon Calves was a sailor. And this sailor from Portugal used to sail to and from the west coast of Africa, right? And so what happened is when he sailed from Portugal to the west coast of Africa, he found that Muslim Arabs, I said it before, and I'll say it again, Muslim Arabs already had Black people enslaved, okay? So what he done is that he said, hey, I'm going to take some of those, I'm going to take them back to Portugal. And so he took them back to Portugal and kind of distributed them between the royal dignitaries and the royal family and the upper echelon of the society. And so what he used to do subsequently is go back and forth from Portugal to Africa, getting these slaves. And that was in the 1400s. Okay, so Gon Calves in the 1400s did this. 1400s. That's when it started. And there's another name. Etch this name into your memory right now. Pope Nicholas the Fifth. Pope Nicholas the Fifth. Who's that? By 1455, Pope Nicholas V, the Roman Catholic Church. This thing is so crazy. The Roman Catholic Church, folks, issued a papal bull, which is basically a decree, okay, that said it's okay for all peoples to enslave these African peoples. And subsequently, all the other countries, Great Britain, Spain, France, they all went into the slave trade. So the reason for blacks sold blacks into slavery That's a nonsense, okay? That is ridiculous. That's not why slavery started. It started because Gonçalves in the 1400s sailed to Africa, found some black peoples, took them from the Muslim Arabs, brought them back to Portugal, and Pope Nicholas V of the Roman Catholic Church issued a papal bull to go and enslave black people. So how did we get to this statement? Blacks sold blacks into slavery. How did we get there? I'll tell you how we got there. During this time, right, there were some black peoples who were helping Europeans in this slave trade, right? 100% can't be denied. But the reason for slavery happening was not because blacks sold blacks into slavery. They got co-opted into slavery via the Europeans, namely the Portuguese. Okay, and so the slave forts within Ghana, specifically Elmina's Castle, you can see was owned and traded and funded by the Portuguese. All of these things were funded. If you really think about it, slavery for hundreds and hundreds of years was maintained, funded, organized by Europeans, not by blacks selling other blacks into slavery. As a matter of fact, if blacks were that prominent in selling other black people, we would have a rich African country based off of the fact that they sold other black people into slavery. But we don't have that. But what we do have is European nations, France, Spain, Portugal, Great Britain becoming absolutely filthy rich. The US becoming filthy rich because of slavery. No African nation ever got rich because of slavery. Could you point me to one? Because I don't know what it is. So you see this statement, blacks sold blacks into slavery. Were there blacks that helped other Europeans and Arabs sell other blacks? Of course there were. But they're not the reason for it. What I found is that black people generally are the only people to blame themselves for their own Holocaust. Right? Black people call their Holocaust the Ma'afa, if you guys have heard it or not heard of it. They call their own Holocaust the Ma'afa. Okay? And we don't blame ourselves for our Ma'afa for hundreds and hundreds of years. We don't do that. Just like the Jewish people don't blame other Jewish people for their Holocaust. It's actually documented that Hitler himself had over 100,000 Jewish soldiers in his army. It's documented, which means other Jewish people helped Hitler in his army. Now, Jews don't go around saying the reason for the Holocaust is because of other Jews, 100,000 of them? Of course not, because they knew that Hitler funded, organized, and maintained a Holocaust against them. It wasn't the Jewish people's fault, just like it wasn't the blacks' fault in slavery. So could we please stop doing this? Stop blaming black people for slavery and start to put the blame on the door of the people who started it, namely Gonçalves and Pope Nicholas V. I hope that helped.